Let's start this episode by taking a look on eBay, as two interesting items were put up for sale on the auction site in January. The first was one of the rarest games of all time, Stadium Events on the NES. New and sealed, it ended up being sold for over £23,000. Second was an early prototype of the Sega Saturn, called the Pluto. It was still available when I was making this video and it'll set you back around $10,000. It doesn't actually work, by the way. What a bargain. Moving on, a documentary on the early history of video games called World 1-1 has been released. It was the result of a successful Kickstarter, and you can rent it for $3.99 or download it outright for $9.99. On to stranger stuff, cult teletext-based gaming magazine Digitiser has been revived through YouTube. It's only a replicated version of the original texts, but it's welcome all the same. Odder than this though is the creation of an action figure mocking the terrible artwork for the North American version of the original Megaman. Don't look into its eyes, whatever you do. To finish this section is the most baffling news of all, however. You probably remember Twitch playing Pokemon last year, but Pokemon Red played Twitch last month. This is where I would usually look to explain exactly how that's happened, but to be honest, I'm struggling to comprehend it myself. Starting with Nintendo's systems, the Wii U's eShop received a huge number of ports, including the Game Boy Advance's Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones, F-Zero GP Legend, DK King of Swing, and Castlevania Circle of the Moon. It also got a trio of NES games, including Lode Runner, Dig Dug, and Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Finally, there was the SNES's Demon Crest and Axlay, as well as a downloadable version of Metroid Prime Trilogy. The 3DS's eShop, on the other hand, received just Afterburner 2, but it is a rejigged version which takes advantage of the portable's 3D capabilities. There are a few major ports and re-releases outside of Nintendo world though, including a remastered version of cult classic point-and-click adventure Grim Fandango, which arrived on the PS Vita, PlayStation 4, Windows, Mac, and Linux. There was yet another remake of the original Resident Evil 2, for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. My personal highlight this month though was Duke Nukem Megaton Edition becoming available for the PS3 and PS Vita. It includes the original 4 chapters of Duke Nukem 3D, as well as the Duke It Out in DC, Life's a Beach, and Nuclear Winter expansions. To round off things with a PlayStation 2's Star Wars Racer Revenge becoming available on the PlayStation 3 through PSN, Qbert Rebooted being released on Android devices, and a remaster of Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy for PC, Mac, Linux, and iOS. To start, an ambitious modder created a ControlView for the Dreamcast, which has allowed them to play the system's games using a screen built into the controller. It must be a nightmare to beat the later levels in Choo Choo Rocket on it, mind. Second is that Krikzz has released a reprogrammable Mega Drive cartridge kit, allowing you to program a single game onto a cart. The kit costs $58 and the cartridges $9. Finally, there was a Ghostbusters themed NES that was sold on eBay for nearly £500, and a Commodore Amiga was successfully built into a suitcase. First, an unofficial port of the NES's Solomon's Key 2 was released for the Commodore Amiga. Second is another project from the Mojon twins, this time with new NES game Jetpacko. Next is Rocket Smash EX on the Commodore 64, and to round off the new homebrew releases is Castle Raider for the BBC Micro. Moving on to games coming out in the following months, there were 2 unofficial ports announced for the Commodore 64. The first is a version of Super Metroid called Hyperion, and the second is an iteration of Worms called Grubs. Then there was the news that the unreleased Atari 7800 port of Toki will be available soon, as well as 2D platformer Alice's Mum Rescue on the Dreamcast and Antarex for the Mega Drive. Finally, a physical cartridge version of the unreleased Shadowhawk on the SNES is in the works, and it will be out. Well, it might be already available as I say these words actually. I'd check the link in this video's description if you're interested in it. 4 fan translations this month, and fortunately for me, they all have reasonably simple names. 2 are Mega Drive titles, Morning Adventure, Sayo Blade, and Rent a Hero, with the others being The Screamer on the PC-98, and Higurashu no Naku Koru ni Hu on the PC. That's all for this month then, but why not give this video a like if you can? It'll help raise my spirits if nothing else. I've also included links to 2 topical videos I've created here, one being a review of Qbert Rebooted, and the other a retrospective of Duke Nukem on the Game Boy Color. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great month.
But nobody answered me or came to help. Until you guys showed up, that is.